And welcome into the Wednesday edition, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Wednesday morning. And we are live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. Joe Rexrode, good morning. How we doing?
Doing okay. I feel like I haven't given a gout update in a while, so, it's not totally gone. I'm still wearing flip-flops, unfortunately, for you in the studio.
Yeah, you're looking a little gingerly walking in today.
Think so?
A little bit, yeah.
Oh, boy. Yeah, I was going to say I think I'm getting a little better, but we'll see. I don't know. Permanent gout. Didn't know that was a thing.
Is this a potential to be concerning, how long this gout has lasted?
Well, I think maybe I may have damaged the foot. Like, it may be, you know what I mean? Like, it may be.
Sometimes it can take a while for nerve damage to,
Yeah, I guess, if that's what it
regenerate.
is. Yeah,
that's
if
true.
that's what it is. I mean, again, in the past, it's always been like about 3, 4, or 5 days, and then you're totally fine. So this is now weeks and weeks.
Yeah.
So,
like Mariota when he hurt his elbow and he felt the, nerve damage in there.
That's a
true.
good point. I mean, I hadn't even considered nerve damage, and now you got me really freaking out, man. Thanks.
Well, it'll regenerate, he said.
Just got to give it time.
Yeah, it'd be fine.
Can I get another entire new foot to regenerate? That'd be cool. Just new one sprout out and cut this one off.
Well, let's figure that out.
Yeah. All right. That's enough gout talk for the day.
Joe's sufficiently freaked out 2 minutes into the show. Got that going for us. Ian, how we doing? What's going on?
Oh, I'm doing great. Happy hump day, everybody.
Happy hump day.
SEC Media Days. Rolling on, huh?
Yeah.
All the hard-hitting news.
A lot of stuff going on at SEC Media Days. Day number 3 out there today. Tennessee and Vanderbilt are now done, so we'll see what comes of it today.
So we get Kellen DeBoer coming up type stuff.
Well, Alabama today. So
Alabama, yeah. That used to be a big deal. I mean, it's still a big deal because that's Alabama, but yeah, Kellen DeBoer doesn't
not quite the same pop.
Yeah, like it's very doubtful he's gonna start barking at Feinbaum like you might have had it happen before.
Yeah, I doubt it.
Yeah.
Although I'd kind of like to see it.
Show some fire, man.
Get in there.
Show some fire. Absolutely. Your dad would like to see some fire.
Yeah, he said we went to dinner last night. And he says DeBoer loses 4, he's out the door. Remember it. All right, we'll see.
That's a bumper sticker.
Yep, we'll see what happens on that front. Tennessee addressing the media yesterday. They were on with Chase and Big Joe, Arian Carter, Josh Heupel got on with Chase and Big Joe, so those were fun to hear. Joe, we happen to know who some of the Tennessee players are, which apparently Stilly has a problem with. Heard some of that yesterday too. We're going deep in the weeds because we were talking about players that Tennessee has.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to play that. I have to isolate that clip, and that'll be a nice, save it for a rant someday, or maybe just play it for
Robby and Joe going deep in the weeds.
Yeah,
they started listing the quarterback.
It's so weird on a sports talk show to know players on a sports team. I mean, can you imagine?
Oh God, I enjoyed it. It was funny.
Yeah, it was something. So now he's back on vacation?
I think so.
Ducking me again, huh?
He's back out.
I'm not sure.
I think he's out of there today.
I think so.
Yeah. I mean, maybe you think that's what it is. You think he's just ducking the competition?
It's funny. It's funny how it works out. Oh, I'm watching Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark almost getting a fight last night.
Yeah, she was very upset with the referee. Apparently, that's a lot of that going on in the WNBA. A lot of upset. A lot of people upset with the officials.
Okay, so she had to be held back from an official. Yeah, there's a lot of WNBA officials stink talk in the world. I mean,
a lot of that going on.
Yeah. So, I will say they definitely need to get a handle on things. Looks like Caitlin Clark lit it up, though, huh?
I think.
I was actually watching the All-Star game last night. Did you watch it?
I did not watch 1 second of the Major League Baseball All-Star game. I mean, look, we've talked about this before. All-Star games, really, of each sport, very difficult for me to care. It's just very difficult.
Yeah, no, we have talked about it, and I've agreed. It is funny how when your team is the best team in baseball and the pitcher's starting the game, although he gave up 2 runs. But that's all right. Get out of your system, Terry Scoobel.
That's right.
And you have a bunch of players on the team. You actually kind of want to watch it.
Yeah.
So, I watched the most of that or probably any All-Star game in a long time.
I saw a clip of Clayton Kershaw was mic'd up talking to the broadcast, and that was kind of fun for a little bit.
I tell you what, I was going to say, I think that's kind of cool. They had Scoobel, he's pitching, and he's just, I guess I'll go slider here, you know. which, I mean, that's a good idea for an all-star game, obviously.
Oh, Kershaw asked, he's like, Smoltzy, what do you want me to throw here? And Smoltz was like, throw a cutter. He's like, I don't throw a cutter.
Yeah, I don't throw a cutter, yeah.
That was pretty funny.
He's like, how about a slider? I don't have a cutter. Yeah, I actually saw in a game a few weeks ago, because, I hate the basketball quick little interviews. I don't think there's much value in them at all, like in-game interviews. But someone, who the heck was it? Somebody for the Twins was mic'd up in the field during a game.
Really?
Yeah. And, obviously he's out there playing and he's talking to guys, but then it's like between pitches, it'll be like, like this summer, I just took the kids out to the water park. And, here we go. And I was like, I will say that, like, that is, I never would have thought of that as something to do, but it was kind of cool. And it was a lot better than like the basketball, quick huddle interview.
Of the sports where you can do that, baseball is at the top of that list. Right.
It's like the only one.
You can't mic somebody up in the middle of a football play or a hockey shift or a fast break in basketball. Like, there's a lot of downtime in baseball. Like, you're standing around out there a whole lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like it.
I do too. And I mean, that is in particular for an all-star game is exactly when you should do stuff like that.
I agree. So I'm glad you enjoyed the MLB.
It wasn't bad, man. It wasn't bad.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Josh Heupel addressing the media yesterday at SEC Media Days. Joe, it went about exactly how I thought it would, which is he is not going to say anything about who the starting quarterback is going to be, which was expected heading in there. He kind of opened things up talking about the quarterbacks, saying that they'll have a competition. He included all three players there, including George McIntyre. So my guess is we're not going to find out who the starting quarterback is until pretty close to game week of the Syracuse game. So we're probably still over a month away from knowing exactly who the starting quarterback is going to be for Tennessee. So no big surprises there. It was interesting. I think I did sense, Joe, a little bit of irritation from the Tennessee contingent yesterday in terms of I think they get the vibe that people don't expect them to do a whole lot this year now that Nico's gone. And I know that pissed off Miles Kitselman yesterday because he was talking about you're going to look up and Tennessee's going to be 7-0 and you're going to be wondering, well, how in the world are they doing this? So Kitselman clearly bothered by that. And even Heupel, like some of the things he said yesterday, you can tell that he's paying attention to that a little bit. And he had this statement on with Chase and Big Joe. And Chase asked him about the idea out there that ever since the Nico thing went down, what about the Vols and Heupel getting a pass? And here's what Heupel said to that question by Chase and Big Joe yesterday.
Man, it's been a long time since I walked into a ball game not thinking that we were going to win that ball game. It's been a long time, long before I got to Tennessee. Nobody in our program has ever used anything as an excuse from day one when we got there. When I got there, said we're good enough to win right now. Now your margins might be different, year to year, team to team. Your margins can be different, but this football team is good enough to go win. And, that's the athletic traits that we have, both sides of the football. It's what we have in our staff room. We got to go compete and go take it every play, every practice, every day. And ultimately you get to kick off and, coaches and players together got to find a way to go win the game.
You could sense a little bit of, and Chase texted me after that. He was like, you should have seen Heupel's face when I asked him about the idea of Tennessee and him getting a pass this year. And I was like, yeah, I saw it. I was watching the YouTube feed. He did not seem to enjoy that. You could sense a little bit from the Tennessee contingent yesterday, a little bit of, all right, you just wait and see how good we're going to be. Now, whether or not it plays out that way, we're going to find out. But that was really the one takeaway I had from Tennessee yesterday, Joe, which was I think that they think they're going to be a whole lot better than the experts seem to.
Yeah, better than even people who mute themselves think they'll be. Yeah, look, if you have this opportunity as a coach, as a program that's had this kind of success to do we'll prove you wrong, you will certainly lean into it.
Oh, they're going to.
They're going
to lean into it.
So how did Chase phrase it? He phrased it.
He said, basically he started talking about here's the question that Chase had to Heupel that set up that answer yesterday.
Josh Heupel is with us, Vols head coach. You played this game at a high level. You've coached this game at a high level, and you know that There are no such thing.
Nobody cares.
At excuses.
That's what I love about this game. The only thing that matters is when the clock ticks 0.
So you probably know where I'm about to go.
You're either +1 or you're not. That's all that matters.
There's this narrative that with the quarterback situation and what happened with Nico, that you might get a pass this year. That if things don't go well, the Vols get a pass. Coach Heupel gets a pass. Does that piss you off when you hear that?
Man, it's been a long time since I walked into
There it was.
Oh, and then you nice fade. The answer. I like
pro.
that. Look at
Ian's
that.
an absolute pro.
Okay, that was good. I like that. I like that question. Does that piss you off? And by the way, I actually heard Still. I guess he was reacting and saying they don't get a pass. They get a pass. But I don't know any of the players on their team, and I never will. But they get a pass. Yeah.
Sam Aguilar is going to throw the ball around this year.
Sam Aguilar. Whatever.
Don't talk about the quarterback. It's going too deep in the weeds. We don't
Yeah,
want that.
exactly. Jimmy Joe at corner and Bobby Sue at corner.
Peyton Manning's going to be playing quarterback this year for the Vols.
But yeah, that's Heupel.
Where's Casey Clausen?
Heupel will use this for sure, and it's interesting that Kitzelman. I saw that too. Yeah, 7-0. I'm like, so wait, are you losing the 8th game? Like, who is the 8th game of the schedule? Why aren't you 8?
That's a good question.
But yeah, of course they're going to use that, and at the same time, I mean, I think that the pass thing is one of those things. That whole question and answer, it really is separate from them, obviously, right? Like, they're going to try to win every game. They think they can win every game. They're going to talk about how everybody doubts them. But it is interesting for Vols fans. Okay, so they go 8-4. They go 7-5. What is the temperature? What is the feeling, around the program at that point? I mean, that's something that Heupel doesn't know either.
Look, there was a contingent of Vol fans that were ready to move on from Josh Heupel after they lost to Ohio State last year. So that's always worth keeping in mind in these discussions.
Sure.
Like, you're going to run into some of that no matter what with Tennessee fans. And it's a big enough fan base where whatever small representation that is of the fan base is not necessarily indicative of how most people feel. But I'm here to tell you, if they go 7-5 or 8-4 this year, and I said this immediately after the Nico thing, there will be people that are ready to move on from Josh Heupel. It will happen. So I think we all need to prepare ourselves accordingly for that. I think there's about a 0% chance that actually happens this year in terms of if they did go 7-5 or 8-4, they ain't firing Josh Heupel. It's not happening. Of course. So it's not even worth bringing up.
No,
Nor should they, by the way.
No, nor should they. I don't think that's it's just like that's the space between, like the actual hot seat and crazy people on the internet. It's like, okay, what percentage of like the reasonable Tennessee fans / even like media, are starting to wonder. I tend to, I tend to think that he'll get a pass from media. I mean, I like if they go 8-4 this year, 7-5. Again, you have to go through it and see it.
Yeah, what's it look like?
Yeah, like does the offensive line continue to be so bad that you're like, okay, and you are sticking. Some coaches are too loyal to some assistants. That is absolutely a problem with some coaches, and it can really get them in trouble. So it's like, how does it look? Is such a big part of that.
Well, there's another part of that I want to get to coming up next. I think it's a huge year for one person in particular on this staff. And we're going to get into that coming up next. We'll get into some more comments from Tennessee players yesterday at SEC Media Days. We got a lot going on the show today. We got some Predators thoughts to get into. There are some signings in the NFL to get to, some Titans talk to get to. We got a lot of things happening today on the program. We'll take your thoughts through all of it. 615-737-1025, our phone number. Robby and Rexrode, 1025-1063, the game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Joe, I mentioned big year for somebody in the offensive staff. I think this is massive for Joey Halsley, their offensive coordinator. This is a year where you need to see something offensively that's got an uptick to it. And because of the situation he's walking into this year, with uncertainty at quarterback, the youth that we discussed at wide receiver, some inexperience on the offensive line in some spots, I'm really interested to see how they handle that this year. Because on paper, I mean, you don't feel great about the Tennessee offense this year. There's a lot of consternation discussion about Joey Halsley anyway. And we talked about that the day the season wrapped up last year of, man, if you're Heupel, do you have to take a look at Halsley and your offensive operation? And again, like, we probably go back to 2022 and Hendon Hooker and Jalen Hyatt too much in this discussion, because I think the more distance you get from that, the more you look back and say, man, that's a pretty special combination they got there. And I just don't know when they're going to get that level of play again. I mean, we talked about it yesterday. Hendon Hooker threw for 58 touchdowns and 5 picks in 2 years at Tennessee. I mean, that's absolutely absurd. And that doesn't even count what he did on the ground. So, like, it's pretty hard to hold an offense to that sort of standard. But, Joe, I do go back, like, I've gone down the YouTube rabbit hole the last couple of weeks because I'm all sauced up and ready for some college football. And you're watching, like, highlights from 2022, and it's like, wow, Jalen Hyatt's lined up in the backfield. They're running a wheel route with him. And wow, they got Princeton Fant, like, split out wide, sending him in motion, doing it on a jet sweep. It's like, what? They're doing all these things that you just haven't really seen them do the last few years and utilize. And one of the things that really stands out, Joe, is a whole lot of it's coming over the middle of the field. And it's like, man, they really trusted Hendon Hooker to throw that ball over the middle of the field. And maybe some of it's just as simple as that they have not trusted Milton and Nico the last 2 years to do some of that and to make those reads over the field. But I feel like this is a massive year for Joey Halsley, who to this point, to me, in the passing game, and you can blame whoever you want to blame for it. You can blame him. You can blame the quarterbacks, whatever it is. I think the way that their offense has been run the last few years has been pretty underwhelming in the passing game. And I think it's a big year to determine exactly what that looks like this year. And by the way, Heupel's part of that.
Yeah, and I agree. And I think that you talk about a pass, that's where maybe a pass, look, we've talked a lot on this program, thanks to Brandon, about Glenn Ellerbe on the offensive line. And at some point, you've got to, at some point, I think pretty soon, you've got to start developing and really producing some really good SEC offensive linemen from players you've recruited out of high school. But I'm with you. I think Halsey might be the guy who, and it's his third. It's going to be his third quarterback or whatever, third, fourth, fifth. Well,
you could get deep into the numbers this year.
Yeah, but so like from that perspective, no, he hasn't been able to work with someone who played at the level of Hendon Hooker. You have to keep that in mind. At the same time, there is no doubt in my mind, and I've said this many times on the show, that it's been a step down for Tennessee. Alex Golish, we'll see what he does at South Florida, but he got a head coaching job for a reason.
Yeah,
he's a legit, like, you look at his career and his career path and the different things he's done, like coaching tight ends at Iowa State and the variety of backgrounds, and that's what he did. He kind of melded some things together. They played more power football, people realized back then. Wasn't a lot of it, but they had it.
Yeah.
They had it in their bag and they could execute it. And Halsley is one of those guys who he is. And again, this is like one of those things, Rob. It's like, it's like when you think about, like, when David Poyle was GM and we were talking about like is Brian Poyle, Brian Poyle could have been the greatest personnel person in the league, but because his last name was Poyle, like, that was always going to cut against him, right? With like the public. And with Halsley, like, he is the classic guy you look at as too loyal to your guys because Heupel had him in his QB room when he was a kid at Oklahoma. And he's basically followed him around. I mean, he was an offensive GA the year that Heupel got fired, and then he He's an analyst with him at Utah State. He's an analyst and assistant QB coach at Missouri. He's an analyst at UCF. Then he gets the big step up to a full-time position coach in college football, which is a big deal, big money difference, which is quarterbacks coach at 2020 in UCF. And then he comes here as QB coach. Well, 2022, pretty great. Yeah, like he was a QB coach for some great QB play, but was he ready to be the OC? Is he ready to be the OC? Is he a good enough OC for Tennessee to try to program that's trying to win a national championship? It's a very fair question to ask right now.
Well, they've made a couple of adjustments on offense. I mean, they've hired, Landry Jones is coming in, former Oklahoma quarterback, as an analyst, and they've got Seth Luttrell that's also in there as well. So I have no idea what sort of an impact those two guys are going to have on what they do offensively this year. If you're a Tennessee fan, I guess the one thing that I'd feel good about, and I know they just lost Dylan Sampson, but this team has been able to run the ball regardless of who the running back has been. I mean, Heupel talked about it yesterday. They've run for 2,500 yards at least every year that he's been here, and that's an absurd number. And some of that's just the offense they run. I do have questions, Joe, of if the quarterback play falls to a level where the other team just does not feel like the quarterback in the passing game is a huge threat, how will that change how teams try to defend Tennessee? And does that make it harder to run the ball? I guess we'll see on that front. But until proven otherwise, I'm just going to assume that they're going to run the ball pretty effectively.
Yeah, I think so. I think that I think the offense automatically, like it does it forces the box to be lighter from the start. And then obviously you have to win. You have to be good enough to win. So even though we rip on the offensive line, I mean, they've had some good players. They've had some good offensive line play, good blocking. It absolutely helps when the box is lighter. I mean, you'd have to be, to me, pretty incompetent throwing the ball for that to change a lot. We've also seen the teams, like Georgia, every year they just beat them. They just beat them one-on-one.
Yep.
They win their matchups. They have better players, and and that makes a difference. Yeah, Luttrell's an interesting ad for sure. A guy who, of course, again, we're going back to. I guess he didn't play with Heupel. I guess he was maybe he was a grad there, but he played right before Heupel got there. I think I could be wrong. They might have played 1 year together, but regardless, it's a guy who has done some good stuff, has, of course, been a head coach for North Texas, had a pretty decent tenure there too. So does he come in and add a really important voice? He might.
He did play with Heupel, by the way.
He played with Heupel.
Yep.
Okay, that's last year. Yeah, okay, so there you go.
615-737-1025, our phone number, 615-737-1025. The Athletic has come out with their way too early NHL predictions. And let me tell you, if you're a Predators fan, you may want to shield your eyes from this, and we'll get into that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Don't miss out on some of Nashville's best deals. Go to theGameNashville.com/deals, and you can purchase half off on gift cards for places like Red's Hot Chicken, Mellow Mushroom, Brewster's, and many more. Check it out again at theGameNashville.com/deals. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Wednesday morning. Joe, you brought this to my attention yesterday. I had not seen it, and then I looked at it, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
All righty. The way too early predictions for the NHL season next year that the athletic staff has put together. And there's a lot of things in here. I mean, it's anything from Stanley Cup champion to who finishes with the fewest points to surprise playoff teams. There's a lot that they cover in here. And none of it really speaks kindly to the Predators. Couple things on this. Number one, the coaching part of this, and the coach most likely to get fired first is one thing that they touch on in here. And Andrew Burnett running away with it with the vote here. He gets 43.5% of the vote of the first coach fired next year. And here's some interesting candidates in here, like your boy Patty Waugh is on here at 8.7%. Jim Hiller from the Kings is number 2 on the list at 26.1%. But 43.5% of the vote, almost half of the vote, went to Andrew Burnett as the first coach fired. And Sean Gentili put it this way, quote, "We heard the whispers about Andrew Burnett's job security last season, and Nashville's roster looks even worse for 2025-26. That's not a great combo." They also Jared Bednar and Chris Knobloch on this list too, which is interesting.
Yeah, that was interesting. But yeah, 43%. If it doesn't sound like it's second place is who?
Second place is Jim Hiller with 26.1.
Hiller
There's like a 20% gap between those two.
Yeah, running away with that one. So, and I wasn't surprised, but it is still like oh yeah, wow. Now that's traditionally he would be, the favorite.
Yes,
that's how they're looking at it. But not everybody just does what everybody else does.
That is true.
Worth keeping in mind.
It is worth keeping in mind on that front. It's also interesting. They go through the playoff field here, and it's like, all right, so who are maybe some prize playoff teams next year? And then they actually just break down the entire playoff field. So for instance, like everybody who voted on this thing is putting Vegas in the playoffs next year. Why wouldn't you? Colorado, Edmonton, like there's nobody that voted on this that doesn't have them in the playoffs. You look down the list and it's like, all right, well, 91% of people think that the Minnesota Wild are making the playoffs. That may be a little high, 91%, but okay. Utah Mammoth have had a good offseason. So you start looking around and it's like, I wonder if anybody voted for the Predators to make the playoffs. Nope. Nobody.
Zero
people voted for the Predators to make the playoffs next year. I think the lowest registered one on here is Calgary at 4.3%, but the Predators not getting a vote to make the playoffs next year.
I took part in this, by the way, and I did not vote for the Predators, obviously, because no one did.
Correct.
But yes, it was quick. I mean, you go through the playoff field, and there's a few teams that I would have picked first before them at this point to make the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, the one bit of solace that I guess if you're a Predators fan you can take away from this poll at The Athletic is they also did which team is going to finish with the fewest points, and the Predators did not crack the top 4 on that one. Chicago leading the way at that one. But if they finished with the fewest points again, I know they were second last year. If they finish with the fewest points, like their general managers are going to get fired. Like you can't wait forever, right? I know it's a rebuild.
Yeah,
but they've been a rebuild for a little bit.
They have been. It's been fun to see. But yeah, I agree. It's like, great, you lucked out and got Connor Bedard, so that's on your record. But like, what else have you done at some point?
Can you improve?
Can you be a little bit competitive? Another interesting thing about this in the comments when it came out, a reader was basically like, "This is stupid," was his point. But it's like a year ago, some of you, I think there were a few votes for the Preds to win it all.
Yep.
And the GM of the year winner was Barry Trotz.
Yeah.
So
shows you how quickly things can change.
It does.
And exactly what these kind of things ultimately mean.
Yes. It shows you how quickly things can change, how we don't know what's going to happen. But it also shows you that it wasn't just around here that, in case people forgot, it wasn't just around here that we were like, wow, the Preds, oh my goodness. Like around the league, people were like, whoa.
Yeah.
That could be amazing.
Again, like you'll go back to the beginning of last season, and you will be hard-pressed to find anybody who did not have the Predators making the playoffs. And you'll be hard-pressed to find most people who did not have them in the top 3 of the division. And look at where they ended up. So if you're a Predators fan looking at this and you're trying to have some hope for next year, it's, well, look, everybody was wrong about them last year. Maybe they'll be wrong about them again on the other side this year.
Exactly. Be just as wrong about them this year as you were last year, and things it could be a fun season.
But I don't think you're going to have to, like, if we talked about Tennessee and playing the disrespect card to a much higher degree, this is going to be for the Predators. Like, there's no one that's going to pick the Predators to make the playoffs this year based on where they finished and where their roster currently is. And you're looking at their center depth right now, and it's like, oh, Fedor Svechkov is their number 2 center. Okay. There's not going to be anybody that picks the Predators to make the playoffs this year by the time it rolls around.
So, Preds, team with a chip on their shoulder. Vols, team with a chip on their shoulder. Titans, team with a chip on their shoulder. Vanderbilt football, got to prove to everybody right.
Just as close
that
to 2
you're
and 10
good
as they are 10-2.
That is true. By the way, I heard that, and I think the math is wrong.
Is it?
Well, yeah, it's actually just as close to 11-1 as to 3-9.
If you're going bowl game, yeah, sure.
No, 11-1, right?
I mean, I took it as they were 6-6, and they had, like, how many one-score games they have last year?
5.
Was it 5? Okay. Well, then maybe you're right then.
Yeah, so
I thought
that's
it was 6.
It was 5. It was 5. Yeah, 5. If I'm correct, but regardless, Vanderbilt football. That's the team in the state that's like everybody's like, ooh, that could be. Everybody else is like, you
caught up
stink.
in your success, baby.
Yeah,
don't get caught up in.
Yeah, don't get cocky, Vanderbilt football. Everybody else, you stink.
You know what would be great?
Prove to us that you don't stink.
It'd be awesome around here to not have, like, the underdogs at some point. It'd be
Right.
like, hey, we think we're going to be pretty darn good, and we are. Like, we're pretty good. Like, it'd be nice to feel that way.
That's Vanderbilt. The Vanderbilt's, that's what they are. They're talking about playing in January. So they're
nice for the Titans or the Predators to be like, you know what? Not only do we think we're good, we are. Now we're going to come kick your butt, and then they go do it. That'd be nice. Been a while.
It has been a while. Yeah. And I mean, it could be kind of a rough year. It could be another rough fall.
I mean,
Diego Pavia, glad you're around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
And Sam Aguirre.
Yeah.
Whatever. Jared.
Looking forward to watching him play quarterback. Be good.
Yeah.
I got one text that says, it seems like everyone except the Preds front office can see the train wreck the 25-26 season is likely to be. We'll find out. I mean, look, they believe that they've gotten better on defense. And if they have gotten better on defense, that will certainly help. We'll see how much better they've gotten. And if there's any sort of improvement on offense. I mean, I guess what you're hoping for right now is that Andrew Burnett is coming. I mean, he's cooking up with, some sort of tweak that just really opens things up offensively. Because right now, looking at their roster, they're going to need it.
Yeah. But you look at their roster, a lot of people who have done really good things in the league. So do you go from worst possible scenario for a whole bunch of people to, I'm not going to say best. It's not going to be best for some of them, because some of them are like their best is
7 years ago.
Yeah, but good. What if that's the case?
Maybe you get a shot. It's hard for me to believe.
I've seen crazier things than like this Preds team being good in sports, because it's just sometimes you can't explain why some things work and some don't. But it is right now seems like a Hail Mary.
615-737-1025, our phone number. A couple big deals in the National Football League the last couple of days, including one of especially local interest around here. We'll get into that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. The Borchetta Bourbon Music City Grand Prix coming to the Nashville Superspeedway Labor Day weekend, and 102.5 The Game has your chance to win VIP tickets to the IndyCar race. Text in the keyword RACE to 615-737-1025 to be entered to win a pair of VIP tickets. For more information on the event, visit MusicCityGP.com. Joe, a couple of big deals the last 2 days in the NFL. Trey Smith reaching a 4-year, $94 million contract with the Kansas City Chiefs yesterday. He's got $70 million in guaranteed money, which is the most guaranteed money that's ever been given to an NFL guard. So congratulations to Trey Smith, who was franchise tagged by Kansas City, and the deadline to reach a deal was coming up, and they got it, and he gets his payday. So, early in the offseason, we wondered, would Kansas City be able to come to a deal with Trey Smith? They end up tagging him, and now they've got the deal done. 4 years, $94 million, $70 million of which is guaranteed.
Well, first of all, just on a personal note, pretty awesome to see this for Trey Smith. I think he's one of the favorite guys I've covered at Tennessee. Just amazing family, and a guy who thought, he might be done playing football. Came in with all the hype and everything of being like the top. I don't even remember. What was he as a recruit? He was
high.
I mean, I know he was like an offensive tackle, I think, coming
Yes.
out, and then he moves inside. But you're talking about 5-star, huge recruit, actually, for Butch Jones. Again, just an incredible leader, person, and I just never – I got it. I get the blood clots. I do. And so you have that concern. So you're going to move him – some team's going to move him off their board. Him going where he did in the draft still is a head scratcher to me.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And obviously here with the Titans, that could have avoided some trouble had they just scooped him up in the middle rounds there. But a lot of teams missed on him, and it's great to see him get past all the blood clot stuff. Look, some people are gonna look at this like Kansas City. It's a guard, but he's a pretty good freaking player, so good for him.
Yeah, good to see, and that's a lot of money. $70 million guaranteed. It's a heck of a lot of money. So, look, he's been worth it. He's been a really, really good player, and the cap continuing to go up in the NFL, so we'll see what that ends up looking like. But I saw that yesterday, and I was like, cool, way to go, Trey Smith. Nice job. Garrett Wilson, a 4-year, $130 million contract extension with the New York Jets as well. So while the Jets as a whole have been underwhelming the past few years, and I thought when Rodgers signed there that Garrett Wilson was just going to put up some insane numbers, and you saw some of the training camp videos like right when Rodgers got there of those two really connecting well. And then, of course, Rodgers tears his Achilles the next year. They're not any good at all, and it just did not work out the way. But he still ends up with a 4-year, $130 million contract, $90 million guaranteed. It is the fourth most in a wide receiver's contract. This according to Schefter that put it out there, and $32.5 million average. So, again, I don't really care much about the average in today's NFL. Like, just look at the guaranteed money and what that looks like. But Garrett Wilson getting a big deal, and we'll see if he ever gets a quarterback to throw him the ball up there in New York.
Yeah, it seems like a ridiculous deal. He's really good, but it still seems like, my gosh. But it's not a market-setting deal. These numbers are going to go up as they have been. They're going to keep going up. So it doesn't, it seems like a reasonable deal. I think he's that good. I am interested to see, if he can ever like put anything together. Who the heck? I don't even. So they've got. You got to help me out with the New York teams. I seriously keep getting them mixed up. Russ is with the Jets.
No,
Russ is with the Giants.
Justin Fields.
Justin Fields. God, why am I? Yeah, it's like the Steelers split off into New York. Yeah.
So congratulations, Garrett Wilson. You're gonna have Justin Fields throwing you the ball this year.
Who's their backup?
I don't know. I don't know.
So
who the backup of the
it's
Jets
not
is.
even like it's any kind of. That's a pretty sweet deal for Justin Fields to emerge with like just a straight up starting job with no threat to the job.
Like, is Tyrod Taylor still there? I think he is.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
And I've always wanted Justin Fields, not, playing for the Bears, but, I thought he was going to be good. I don't know. I just don't see him putting everything together based on everything we've seen. It is amazing to me that he doesn't even have.
There's no challenger.
Yeah, there's just no challenge.
I guess Tyrod Taylor could end up being the starting quarterback.
Yeah, but again, if that's the case, that tells you how bad of a signing it was.
Yeah.
Ideally you'd want an actual challenger, someone young or a veteran who, a little bit more juice than Tyrod Taylor, who at this point has got to be what, 35?
He's 35.
Yeah.
He'll be 36 here in a few weeks. So got that coming up. And he played 2 games last year, threw 3 touchdowns, no picks, completed 77% of his passes. Maybe they should have played him a little more.
Maybe. I mean, he's, you know what? He is the quintessential, play to your 40 backup QB in the NFL who can go in there and win you a game. You can come in here, you can come into Nashville and beat the number 1 seed.
Yep. Josh says Jameis is the backup for the Jets. Jameis is actually with the Giants.
He's also with the Giants.
See, there it is. I do
Russ
the same
with the Giants,
thing.
Jameis with the Giants, and they drafted Dart. So there you go. There's your 3 quarterbacks in New York for the Giants.
And I do that. And that's going to be interesting. That's it. So Russ is in a much more vulnerable situation with his job.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Than Justin Fields is, which it's just probably, I guess. I mean, really, you tip the cap to the Giants, I guess. I mean, we'll see if Dart's a good pick, but yeah, just absolutely hand the whole thing over to Fields. I mean, Kirk Cousins got to be looking at that being like, my God.
Terry McLaurin spoke yesterday. I guess he was at a commercial shoot, and some reporters caught up to him, and he said a lot of things yesterday, including, quote, "without any progress in discussion, it's kind of hard to see how I step on the field," is what he said. So we'll see exactly how that ends up playing out. But, he talked about how much he wanted to be there and wanted to be in Washington, and just came out and basically just said how frustrated he was that the talks have gotten to this point where there's still no deal left to be done. So sounds like a lot of anger building up and frustration from the Terry McLaurin side of things, directed at the Washington Commanders.
Yeah, heard some conversation on Sportsless today.
Shout out to Unsportsmanlike.
Yeah, just kidding. Smartless is a great podcast, by the way. But about the idea that if you have a great quarterback, you shouldn't. I think this was Evan saying, if you have a great quarterback, you shouldn't pay a receiver, I guess, that age. And that age part of it, I'm kind of with. But as you pointed out, it's like you have a QB on a rookie deal. Yeah. So that's how, Seattle, for example, is able to load up when they had Russ and win it on his rookie deal. I think that you pay other people.
Yeah.
You think you're good right now. The Lions last year, you could have given them 14 guys and they would not have stopped the Washington Commanders on the Lions home field in the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I'd probably want to. I understand there's some pain and maybe you're overpaying, but that is part of the deal in this league too. And the cap, it is real, but again, it's not like the cap in the NHL. You can do some stuff.
615-737-1025, our phone number. We will get into the Titans coming up next. Who is most likely to be the breakout player of 2025 for the Tennessee Titans? And no, you cannot use Cam Ward as an answer. We'll get into that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Hour number 2, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Wednesday morning. We are live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you. Titans training camp, they're on the field, baby. A week from today. They report next Tuesday. They're on the field next Wednesday. So we are a week away from training camp beginning in the NFL. And, Joe, you've thrown the question out there. Who is most likely to be the Titans breakout player of 2025? And you cannot answer Cam Ward in this discussion because, frankly, it's too easy. And that's what everybody's hoping for. So I get it.
Too obvious.
Too obvious. You cannot answer Cam Ward here. So, Joe, let's start with you. Who is your vote for the most likely Titans player to break out in 2025? Not named Cam Ward.
It's assuming there will be one. Like, will there be a
God, I hope
breakout
so.
player? Yeah, you need like someone. I guess every team probably has someone you'd have to put in that spot. But before I answer that, who was the Titans breakout player last year?
Good Lord. That's a good question.
I don't think they had one, right? Like
Maybe Sweat.
Jarvis.
Maybe.
No, I don't. I mean, I think Sweat came in with high expectations and was
Fine.
okay.
Yeah.
I think Jarvis Brownlee would probably be
That's probably it.
But I also think breakout player, kind of by definition, shouldn't be a rookie.
I would agree.
You know what I mean? Breakout player should kind of be like someone who's been around who takes that big step. Like some people might say. Well, I won't say any others, but my pick is J.C. Latham. I think he's the most likely to go from last year to this year as, oh, okay, look at that. I mean, you look at the shape he's gotten in. I think he's self-aware and holds himself accountable. Obviously, he admitted he got a little bit out of hand with the weight last year. It's on the Titans that they drafted him 7th, said he was a left tackle, put him under the tutelage of one of the greatest offensive line coaches in the league, then decided, oh, yeah, we were wrong. He's actually a right tackle. That's on them, not on him. But if it is indeed the case that the right side is better for him, he's better suited for the right side, that's another reason that you could make the case for J.C. Latham as the breakout player. So all of that said, and honestly, there's no one else for me that jumped out. He was the name that jumped out in my mind.
Well, let me tell you, it better be Latham, because if not, I got a big problem with drafting J.C. Latham. Like, you need to walk away from the end of this year thinking that Latham is a great player on the right side of your offensive line. And frankly, anything less than that is going to be very disappointing to me if that's the way it works out. I mean, I'll put Sweat in that discussion too. Like, they absolutely need him to be. Like, they need Sweat from the jump this year to be a really, really good player. I'll throw another one at you that I've got an open mind about that, again, I don't think we're going to be talking about all pro or anything like that. But I was encouraged last year toward the end of the year by the way Skoronski finished. And if he takes a significant jump from what he's been in his career to this point, which I would describe as very up and down and okay, if he turns into a pretty good player, I'll take that at this point. So I would put him in that list as well. Other than that, I don't know how many candidates I think are actually realistic. Like, if you wanted to include the rookies, again, besides Cam Ward, the one rookie I would choose for this would be Femi Oladejo based on the position that he plays. They need him to be a whole lot better than I think that we think he's going to be in year one heading all this. But Latham needs to be the answer, and not far behind him needs to be Sweat. And you're talking about your first 2 picks from a year ago.
Yeah, and I agree. And if we're doing, like Jacob on the YouTube chat throws out Gunnar Helm. And I think that obviously Io Manor would be a guy to either of those receivers could, you certainly want one of them to break out and do something. But like Jacob said, not a ton of non-rookie options. Chig is a guy. Is it too late for him to be a breakout player?
It's not too late. I don't know that I have a huge amount of confidence in it.
Yeah, I wouldn't pick him to be that, but there's another one, a veteran, like someone on a, it's like, someone on a rookie deal. Like Zach says, NWI last year, he did have but I don't agree with that. I mean, he was already established. I know he had a good touchdown number last year, got himself a deal with Miami, but I think he's been a steady guy for a few years. I wouldn't call him that.
I'll throw another one at you that I think has got a chance, albeit I don't think a huge one, and I'm not holding my breath for it. But it's the type of guy that I think kind of fits the mold of it. Tajay Spears. Spears has been, I would call it underwhelming to this point, particularly with where he was drafted. And it's not like, I don't think, unless there's an injury, which hopefully there's not, to Tony Pollard, I don't think he's going to get a huge opportunity this year. Like, it's not like he's going to be playing, he's going to be touching the ball 25 times a game. But I thought last year he was pretty underwhelming, and then there were some injuries that went along with it. And I did find Brian Callahan's comments on him a few weeks ago pretty interesting, just in terms of, like, he went into not huge detail, but basically alluded to the fact that, Spears was going through some things last year and that they've met a lot through the offseason, and that he feels like Spears is in a way better spot this year. So how much of that is coaching lip service in the offseason and how much of that actualizes itself on the field, I have no idea. He would be a candidate of, if they could get an elevated version of him, what sort of weapon would that be on the offense? But frankly, Joe, the fact that I'm having to dig down to Tajay Spears on the offensive side of the ball kind of shows you their lack of options in terms of breakout players that are not rookies.
Yeah. I think James Williams and Cedric Gray are both guys you'd love for that to be the case, for it to even be a possibility. I don't know how that's going to shake out. They are both second-year players. One of them basically hurt all last year. The other one, low pick, who was a special teams guy. But at least those are young candidates who could end up with key roles in the defense. So that'd be huge for the Titans if one of them could even be like discussed as that, put in the category this year and playing enough to be that.
I would love to know how far down the list you've got to go. Like, if you're trying to rank Titans players who have the most pressure on them heading into this year, I mean, look, you can always throw the quarterback in there. There's L'Jarius Sneed in the contract and all that. There's some different ways you can go with it. Jeffrey Simmons and how much they're relying on him to be productive. I don't think you got to get down very far before you get to Latham. Like, I just think with where he was drafted and the expectation for him to come in and be your franchise left tackle, and then you just basically immediately pivoting from that and putting him on the right side. Like, to me, he's got to be a great player on the right side for you this year. Like, I don't, maybe this is unfair of me, I don't have a whole lot of patience for J.C. Latham this year. Like, he needs to show pretty quickly that he was worth being drafted number 7 overall.
Yeah, I think that's fair, and I think it's basically true of just high picks who aren't rookies, and even who are rookies. It's true, but I think high picks going into year 2, year 3, they all need to be difference makers for you. And obviously, if the Titans' recent history is such that, like, so few of them of the high picks so many of them have been busts or close to it. But yeah, that's where Latham and Sweat, obviously, but again, don't forget. I mean, Cedric Gray, a 4th-round pick, that's not nothing.
Yeah.
Like you said, we've mentioned Skoronski. Obviously Levis is where he is, and then Spears, 3rd-round pick from a couple years ago.
Do you think we've seen the ceiling for Roger McCreary? Do you think he has another step?
That's a good question.
Yeah, it's a good question. Another question with him is, do they extend him? I think that could make sense to extend him.
Here's my thought on that, Ian. I think he probably is what he is. And the question is that good enough? I would argue it is. Like, I think he's a solid, good, reliable player. I'm interested to see, like, what he's looking for in his next deal. Because, he's not a superstar or anything like that, but I think he's been solid for them. And maybe more than anything, he's been available for them, which been hard to find a lot of those guys.
I just wonder if he'll have more opportunity if something goes awry with Sneed.
Yeah.
And if they use him outside or if they like to keep using him inside, how that kind of works out.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
He's shown the ability to play outside and inside, even though I think they liked him better inside.
Yeah, he's better inside, but yeah. And then if you're him too, it's like, there could be an extension, which, I mean, I would like that security if I were him, where he is in this league. But, he's a guy who, if you do get to free agency, that's the type of guy who can get overpaid too.
Yeah.
So it's not but yeah, you go through like the high picks, and obviously you can't go any, further back. You can't go to like 21, 20, but Traylon Burks, first round pick. Traylon Burks, first round pick, 2022.
Traylon Burks on the text line.
Are there?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm like, we'll see.
Speak it into existence.
I will be surprised if he makes the team. That's where I'm at with Traylon Burks. If he is on the field for the Titans in week 1, I will be pretty stunned by that. That's just where I'm at.
So if he makes the team, he's your breakout player.
Well, maybe so. Maybe that's the bar for it. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. We'll take your thoughts on this. Who is the most likely breakout player for the Titans in 2025? And Cam Ward cannot be the answer. We'll get more to that next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025, 1063, The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Throwing it out there, Titans player, not named Cam Ward, that's the most likely to be a breakout player in 2025. Let's head to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in our buddy Mark in Nashville. Mark, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Hey, good morning. What's Robby, Joe, Ian? What's up, Joe? Say something now.
What's up, Mark?
Yeah, how you doing, man?
Good, man.
Joe, first of all, you can't have a breakout year if you stay broke up. And you know Traylon Burks is not dependable. He probably won't be on that roster, so you got to take him off the list. You can't even mention his name, Joe. I mean, he stays too injured and too broke up, and he's really had his chance. And I mean, if you're gonna label him a bust, I guess you have to. I mean, you spent two top 10 picks on Latham and Storonsky. I think both have to have breakout years. The whole team has to have a breakout year. Callahan has to have a breakout year and win games, Joe. I mean, he does. He's going to have a breakout year. They end up getting rid of Callahan. A lot of guys on that roster is not going to be on there next year. My breakout pick, I'm going to go with Snead, not because of just the contract, but Snead was a pretty good cornerback at one time. They brought him in to do a job, to shut down, to be that shutdown guy and whatnot. But that would be my pick for it or whatnot. Are you debating today, Joe?
No, I think Stilly is bailing out, getting out of town. So he's kind of avoiding me. So, but I can rest easy and gear up for next week.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm gonna have to get you motivated and stuff, Joe. Like I said the other day, you're slipping out. You mean Stillman? If he's out of town, stay out of town, Stillman. Skip Bayless. Yeah, Skip Bayless.
You're invited to stay away, Jared.
Yeah.
Take a long vacation.
Skip Bayless wanna be, but Robby sounds like an offensive line coach on the radio this morning, Joe.
Doing my best.
I mean, he's stepping up. He sounds like one, man. I mean, hey, let's get rid of Callahan and bring Robby and let Robby motivate the offensive line for the Titans.
I can do it.
Robby's not playing around.
That's the
thing. But hey, man. Yeah, you, Robby, Joe, Ian, y'all have a good day, man. I just want to tap in and say that. We'll see you, man.
Appreciate you,
Thanks,
man.
buddy.
Yeah, you know, we've had some votes for Snead on the text line. We've had some votes for Ridley. I would view it this way, Joe. Like, to me, breakout season means like doing something you've not done before in your career. And it's hard for me to get there with Ridley. Like, somebody asked about like 1,400 yards with Ridley. It's like, well, he's kind of done that in Atlanta. I think he was like 1,350 something. So, like, to me, for Ridley to have a breakout year, it would take like 1,700 yards. And I just don't know that that's within the scope of realism there.
Yeah, I guess I'm realizing now how differently you can define that term, but I think of it the same way. I think of it as like it shouldn't be a new player because like there's no precedent set, there's no baseline. But also, like you said, it shouldn't be like an established big time player who's done big things in the league, even if they might be a comeback player.
Yeah,
but not a breakout player. Breakout player is like raising to a level, in my mind, of performance that we haven't seen.
Yeah. Like, I mean, Ridley could break out this year. It would probably be like 1,900 yards. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. I'd call that a breakout year for Calvin Ridley if he gets there.
That would be.
I just don't I don't know if I anticipate that happening.
That would be something.
I mean, to me, if he got even close to his career high in Atlanta, which again is somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,350, let me look that up real quick. I would be ecstatic with that if I'm the Titans this year. Like, if that's what he gives you this year, yeah, he had a career high of 1,374 back in 2020. A long time ago at this point.
Yeah.
I would be thrilled with that if I'm the Titans.
Yeah, like Lockett, like I don't consider, he's not going to, because Lockett's had 1,000-yard seasons, and it's just not going to happen. Josh Wiley from Justin and Greenbrier.
Okay.
There's one to throw out there. Again, either of those tight ends, and obviously you hope Gunnar Helm's good. You hope that out of those three, couple emerge as giving you a little bit higher level of play at tight end.
Let's head back to our 102.5 The Game phone line. Welcome in Adam in Portland. Adam, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Dude, I hate following Mark. I think he's my favorite caller. Like, I like listening to him. And so I feel like what I got to say is not going to be as decent. But I will say, when you say breakout, like, I don't think you can completely dismiss vets even if they hadn't played here. I think Johnny Hecker needs to be awesome this year. And he was quiet, right? That's why we were able to get him. Like, he's not as good as he's been before. But if he needs to raise up, because our offense could suck. We could be so bad, dude. And if we're punting from the 15, we really needed to get inside the other 20. And we didn't get that from Stonehouse. Everybody's disappointed with how Stonehouse ended. I want Johnny Hecker to break out, dude. I want him to be – because, I mean, if he had a sorry season, that could be a really important – like, I know it's a punter, right? But it could be a really important player on this team. Like, I think he could have – I could end up getting a Hecker jersey if he's good enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, he needs to be good, dude.
Adam, I don't know if there's been a call that summed up Titans football more than you just did in the last 3-4 years. Thanks, right there. Yep. That's good stuff.
Yeah, like you actually you answered the bell, man. You came out with a punter for breakout player.
Let me tell you, Titans fans, get excited. The punter having a breakout year.
Put the kicker in there too.
Yeah.
We know the long snapper does not need that, cannot possibly qualify because they've already got an elite long snapper.
They do. He's pretty good. So he is pretty good. I mean, if we're getting to the end of the year and we're talking about just what an electric year Johnny Hecker had.
Pro Bowl.
That's great for him. It's probably not good news for the Titans. I mean, look, you can have a good punter on good teams, right? That's fine. I'm just saying that if we get to the end and we're like rank the breakout performers for the Titans this year and Johnny Hecker is on the list, things are probably not going well at that point.
But maybe he keeps coughing, cornering people, and the Titans are getting scooping scores off it. You don't know.
Look, I'm not going to sit here. Based on the absolute tire fire that we watched last year on special teams, I'm not going to sit here and undervalue it because you've seen firsthand, if you're a Titans fan, that if you can't do that job properly and special teams is an absolute disaster, how much of a just punch in the face that can be every week. So I'm not going to sit here and make fun of it, but I'm just telling you, if Johnny Hecker is a breakout performer for the Titans this year, they're screwed. Everybody around here is fired.
Yeah, I mean, look, I had not considered it, so I appreciate Adam bringing that. We need more punter awareness. I've had very successful football coaches who've said the most important play in football is the punt. So just throwing that out there. Cam says, keep an eye on Arden Key. Could Arden Key – I guess Arden Key could – like if he had some – like
10 sacks.
If he had a season of like a really good pass rusher, then that'd be his breakout.
I mean,
season.
He's a candidate for it. I mean, you're also talking about a guy that has been in the league since 2018. He's 7 years at this point. So this is year 8. So look, I'm not saying it never happens because you can find examples of players in year 8 having a breakout year. It's hard for me to get there. I mean, the opportunity will be there. He's going to play. He's going to have to play a lot this year for the Titans.
Well, that's Cam's reason. He's going to be forced to play a lot more snaps, and I believe it's a contract year. Is this – yeah, I think that's
I believe
right.
that is correct, yeah.
So he's had a lot of contract years, though, that's the thing. He's the type of player who has a lot of contract years because people don't sign him to long-term deals. So, so how much does that matter? I'm sure it matters to him, but I don't know how much more you're going to realistically expect from him than about what he gives you, which is here and there you can make him play.
I just I can't get over like the mental image in my head of Mike Borgonzi and Chad Brinker sitting down at the end of the year with Amy and being like, let me tell you about our punter. Let me tell you about the year Johnny Hecker had.
But the punting was good.
The punting was unbelievable. You wouldn't believe just how much of a difference that made in our team this year. The MVP.
Well, that right there is a Titan. What was that about?
I don't know. One of your Brinker impersonations.
Chad, are you telling me that our best performer this year was the punter again?
Again. Yeah, someone said 40 punts inside the 5 means you're MVP. I mean, that's a lot. That would be an incredible. Like if you just won a bunch of games like 9-7, but with like ungodly punting.
The average starting field position for the opposition is like their own 6. It's like these guys are starting back in their own end zone every drive. You couldn't believe how well the Titans are punting the ball out there.
Tyson says, "Don't sugarcoat it. The Titans' special teams have been bad for years." Well, they've been quite bad for a couple of years.
They've
had some really good
last year.
Yeah. Last year was unbelievable. They've had good specialists.
Yeah, I mean they kicked the ball really well last year in terms of if you're trying to make some field goals out there. Nick Folk was really good.
Yeah. So
and now in a new era this year. Nick
I'll
Folk's
tell
not
you
good enough anymore.
I mean, look, people get all excited about Dan Marino and the Miami Dolphins. Well, go back and watch some Reggie Robby punts and tell me that wasn't part of the success.
Ray Finkel?
Yes. What if Joey Sly sucks this year? That'd be tough, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
They in all seriousness, like, I know that when Nick Folk got here, he thought that he couldn't kick a 37-yard field goal, but it turns out that he was pretty accurate.
He had
there.
a source. He had a source in Boston.
He has no leg.
He's wicked weak with the leg. Yeah, no stuff. Yeah, got nothing. Yeah, I've got a source. Yeah. So, but the Titans, like coaches talk about the margins.
We don't want to read the depth chart.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry. How come? So it's okay to know like the third right tackle on like the Jacksonville Jaguars and want your team to sign him a free agency, but you're not allowed to know like starters on a college football team. I'm so confused.
Sam Aguilar throwing the ball around.
I hope he's listening before he goes wherever he's going on this latest vacation.
We got a lot more of your thoughts to get to on the Titans. We will take more of those. 615-737-1025. The most likely Titans player to be a breakout player in 2025. And Cam Ward cannot be the answer. More on that coming up next. Plus something from a prominent college football coach yesterday that put an end to some of the crap that's been swirling out about there the last 2 days. We'll get into all that. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Got an event coming up that is not just a concert, it's a cause. Turner, Texas Rock the Cradle helps give fragile newborns a stronger start and keeps mom close when it matters the most, with Tim McGraw live on stage and your support behind every beat. Ascension St. Thomas, turning music into healing. Tickets are on sale now at rockthecradlenashville.org. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We'll have the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode coming up at 7:45. We will get back into some comments from Josh Heupel and the Vols in the 8 o'clock hour. So all that coming up right now, taking your thoughts on the Titans, 615-737-1025, and going through some potential breakout candidates in the Titans this year that are not named Cam Ward. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Dennis brings up a good point that Hecker who is obviously winning, the runaway winner of this competition, is going to be so good opposing teams left a game plan for him. We're going to call punts on second down. I've gone through play-by-play from like college football games, from like a specific college football game from 1913 when I wrote this long thing about it. And like seriously, like it's kind of like rugby. If you watch rugby, like they just punt on first down and they punt on first down and then they run a play and okay, we're punt on second down.
It's kind of amazing this sport ever turned out to be as popular as it did.
And then what the rationale was for that.
Well,
I guess it's strategy of some sort.
Yeah, it's all about, basically
trying to create a turnover or something.
Again, this guy covered, Mark D'Antonio, is like, well, what play in this sport do you gain the most yardage? Like consistently. You gain it with the punt. Yeah. You don't have the ball after that, but if your defense, then so it's all about your you trust your defense and you just keep
punting until you pin them back far enough. No. We're gonna punt every play until that ball's on the one back there.
Oh God. And even then, like at that point in 1913, they did have the forward pass. It was very early, so they threw like a couple, but
it's a bold strategy, yes. Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for them.
Like if you had box scores from back then, I think seriously it's like 40 punts in a game.
How did this sport ever make it?
It's kind of like, it's like when you watch.
You understand a little bit more why it's called football then.
Punts, these guys
because I do hear that a lot. It's like, why is this called football when the kicker is kicking the ball like 7 times a game?
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, fair question. Now, but there you go. And also, again, if you watch rugby, which I've watched a lot this year,
you have.
It is like, it's just interesting how every once in a while, kind of deep in your own end, it's just like boom, kick it, just kick it back, kick it to them. And now in rugby, you can go, it's like an onside kick, like on a punt, you can go, if you get it, you get it.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, so point being, football's cyclical. Maybe this is the way the Titans come back to prominence.
Thank God. Let's get back in there. I'm sure that cap will keep going up in the NFL if you just start punting the ball every second play.
These punters making $30 million a year. God.
Stonehouse may thrive in that situation. Yeah. Stonehouse and Ackerman back together in Miami. Let's not forget that this year. That'd be something to watch.
Oh man, that is.
You think every time Stonehouse walks in the building down there, he's like, "Hey, remember that time you just about got me killed on a football field in Nashville? That was fun."
Hey. Oh, you again. You again. Cool.
Great. Have you figured out how to maybe block someone, scheme something up where I'm not getting eviscerated out there? Thank you.
Craig, don't hurt me again, please.
Oh, man. Good stuff. Kirby Smart addressed the media yesterday. Again, SEC Media Day still going on down there in Atlanta. Jason Big Joe down there. SEC Media Days coverage brought to you by Brewhouse South. Experience Nashville's ultimate sports and brew hangout at Brewhouse South in Cool Springs. Kirby Smart was asked about all the Nick Saban stuff yesterday that was swirling around of, hey, do you think you might be coming back to coach? And Kirby Smart very quickly was like, yeah, it's not happening. It's not going to happen. He said, if he did, he'd be great at it, but it ain't happening. He joked about offering the job of Will Muschamp's job to Nick Saban there, which was also pretty funny. But it sounds like Kirby has talked to the man himself, and Nick Saban ain't coming back.
I know. Immediately go to, by the way, per Feinbaum, the Nick Saban of the Florida Gators, Will Muschamp, and you're going to replace it with Nick Saban.
Yeah.
That's not happening. But Kirby Smart saying that, just to be clear, I promise you that Nick Saban was like, Kirby, you say something about this tomorrow, please. This is ridiculous. That's not a very good Saban.
He should have gone on with he should have said it on McElroy's show. Should have gone on with McElroy yesterday. Like, hey, by the way, he ain't coming back.
By the way, I know that's a good show that does really well. Like, do they ever get Saban on there? I mean,
I don't know. I'm sure. I mean, I would imagine of the radio shows around the country that have the opportunity to get Saban on. I mean, we have one of them on our station with Derek Mason, best friends with Nick Saban.
That's right.
But I would imagine McElroy's show would be up there in Birmingham, Alabama.
So, Nick, someone who would know thinks you're coming back to coaching. Your thoughts? By the way, did you hear McElroy's interview with Chasing Big Joe yesterday?
No, I didn't. I missed that one.
I mean, this is almost worth pivoting, but I've already yelled about it. I mean, the spin job he gave on that whole thing, as
I can imagine.
It's. I mean, dude, you created this, but it's fine. It's fine. It's honestly, it's been a slow week, and without this, as what else will we have this week?
Well, I will say this:
we don't have a lot
on the Saban front. There is one thing that's kind of interesting to me about all this, which is, last year when he first started doing all this stuff, he was at SEC Media Days and he was a part of their coverage. Look, I have no idea what Nick Saban's doing or what's going on in Nick Saban's personal life, or if he's out there on the golf course just teeing it up every day right now. But it is interesting that he's not there. He's not been a part of any of their coverage.
Yeah, that is interesting. I read that as last year it was, we're so excited. We got Nick Saban. Let's unveil him at SEC. And it's a perfect time to unveil him. And that from now on, he's like, yeah, I'm not going to that crap. I mean, I think that's what I'll do game day. I
ain't going to media days. All right.
Yeah, exactly. I'll do your game days, and then going to the playoff, we'll do those. And I'll have to sit there and listen to some other comedian tell everybody how I was obviously a cheater when I was at Alabama, and then
really
I'll have to yell
him.
about it, and blah blah blah. Yeah, I just think he's going to be doing his game day stuff, and he's going to be on the golf course.
I found it interesting that I've not seen him on TV one time this week.
It's one of those things. It is one of those things that in tandem with all this stuff is a little bit like, but I think that's what it is.
Is it because he's putting together a pitch and a game plan to go get hired by Tulsa?
Yeah.
Guys, I'd really love to be at SEC Media Days, but I'm watching some film on the Golden Hurricanes out there. I'm gonna go take that job.
There was a good fake tweet yesterday about him taking the UAB job, about all the the NIL gains they've made and stuff like that. So I'm sure there's a chance if there's a fake Pete Thamel out there. It's a good account that we could get some people this week.
By the way, speaking of SEC Media Days, SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey will be on with Chasing Big Joe today at 12:45. So 12:45, Greg Sankey will be on there. Obviously, a lot of things going on in the world of college football. So make sure you tune in for that later day at 12:45.
Well, Big Joe, if you're not a coward, you will tell him to leave the damn NCAA tournament alone. Not a question. A demand.
Yeah,
leave
Greg,
the NCAA tournament alone.
I don't really have a question for you. I have an action statement that I'd like you to put into place here.
And it's actually a threat. Leave it alone or else. That's illegal, and I'm calling the feds in to shut this down. Again, I love these drops. I just don't remember what they're from.
We'll have the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode coming up next. Take your thoughts, 615-737-1025, our phone number. Robby and Rexrode, 1025-1063, the game.
Sometimes he wakes up on the wrong side of the bed. And sometimes he's just, well, Joe.
Awkward moment. Let's do it.
This is the Rex Rant, now on Robby and Rexrode.
And I say this with all due respect. You guys know I love you, even Joe.
All right, that's enough gout talk for the day.
They sometimes just kind of read the depth chart.
They don't get a pass. They get a pass. But I don't know any of the players on their team, and I never will. But they get a pass.
Well, they got Johnny at linebacker,
Sam Aguirre,
and Joey at the other linebacker. And then if they get a good season from Scotty at safety,
Jimmy Joe at corner,
and Stevie at safety, and Joey at corner,
Bobby Sue at corner.
Peyton Manning's going to be playing quarterback this year for the Vols.
and Scooter at corner.
Arch.
It is that time of the day. Time for the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode. Joseph, with a beautiful illustration by Stilly in the background. The floor is yours.
Wait, what?
I guess illustration is probably the wrong word there. Beautiful
Oh.
audio set up by Stilly there.
I was like, wait.
There is not literally an illustration in the background of you.
I looked, and it's like Big Joe looking at me like, ah! Big Joe in the cast of Three's Company.
Hold on a second. Before you get started. The All-Star game tied last night.
Yeah. And they had a home run derby to win it. I was asleep by then.
It was a swing off.
Swing off. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a little goofy.
All right.
But good for Kyle Schwarber.
Continue your rant.
Yeah.
That about sent me into one.
Yeah. I get it. But I liked a lot of it earlier before I went to bed. You know, that opening, I almost feel like I should rant about Silly again. But let me just quickly say, I don't think it's a bad thing if you do a sports talk radio show, if you're talking about a team, if you know players on the team.
Yeah, I
don't think that constitutes quote unquote reading the depth chart.
Yeah.
We were talking about players on the team
that will play
we actually
significant
know
roles.
are on the team. So
All of which are starters, by the way.
Yeah.
Or at least in competition to be starters.
Yeah. But hey, to each their own.
Yeah.
You know, sports talk, not knowing about sports, whatever, however it works. However it works for you. Today, I actually wanted to rant about another loudmouth. But the thing is, it's not, I've already complained about it before, and I don't really, I just don't watch him. Like, I watch him on game day, and I think he's a good carnival barker on game day. He's great with the ILLOHIO, and he gets up on the thing and gets people. Sometimes he makes a joke. It gets Saban a little riled up. Pat McAfee, I think, has been a good addition to game day. I don't hate the guy. The only other thing I really see of him is like some of the dumb crap Aaron Rodgers has said on his show over the years, and that gets replayed and goes viral, and we talk about it. But the Pat McAfee thing right now is what I don't understand is ESPN seems to think he needs to be involved in everything. Like, he just put him on anything. And clearly the numbers are saying that's what they should do, right?
Correct.
But then every time he does something, I swear, and I guess this goes into, it's like a Stephen A. Smith kind of thing. It's the hate watching thing, Skip Bayless, right? It's like, you don't have to be liked to be followed, to get numbers, to get audience, to get paid, to be all over the place. But like McAfee does the home run derby the other night, which I didn't watch live. I just saw an insane amount of complaining about it. And frankly, I saw him out there, and I'm like, if I'm at the home run derby, am I enjoying this? I don't know. Here's a segment of McAfee.
Hailing from Halloween, North Carolina, a man who's doing something that no catcher has ever done in the history of the sport, with the fattest ass in all of professional sports, and leading the big leagues with 38 homers so far. Ladies and gentlemen, Big Dumper Cal Raleigh.
So that was him, and who was with him? Do we know?
That's one of his boys there. Yeah, on his show.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I didn't recognize
Okay,
it.
so you hear that. Do you want that to be in the home run derby? I mean you're not watching the home run derby anyway.
No. I mean, I don't really understand why he's doing the home run derby. Like, I understand, he does those football broadcasts, alternate broadcasts of college football games, and he's at the draft doing something there too. Like, I understand that because he's connected with football, right? Like, he's got
Look, and he does wrestling. So
he does wrestling.
I know that sounded very
yeah.
much like someone at a wrestling,
Yeah.
at a pro wrestling event. So Vingan would love that.
Here's kind of my take on McAfee. I for the most part, like him. Like I think in small enough doses, he's pretty good. And his show, for the most part, like if you actually sit down and watch it, is pretty entertaining. Like even beyond the Aaron Rodgers stuff. To me, this is an ESPN problem more than it is a McAfee problem. ESPN looks at one thing, and they did this for a while with certainly Stephen A. Smith, and now they're doing it with McAfee. They get an audience for a guy, and then they just force feed him everywhere all the time. And it's like, sometimes you got to know when to pick your spots. Like I saw a tweet from Trey Wingo, who obviously used to work at ESPN.
Yep.
And he was quote tweeting somebody, and there was somebody that said basically like, kids don't realize it today, but you used to be able to turn on ESPN and you would see somebody else other than Stephen A. Smith or Pat McAfee all the time. And basically Trey Wingo said, he compared it to like it used to be a glorious buffet where you could kind of choose and pick what you wanted. And now it's like, hey, chicken or fish? Do you want chicken or fish? And it's either Stephen A. Smith or Pat McAfee that are on at all times. Obviously it's a little bit of an exaggeration, but ESPN like tries to put him everywhere. There's like, to me, there's no reason Pat McAfee should be doing home run derby. Like he has like no connection to baseball at all.
Yeah. And I just don't.
Is it just ESPN having to justify his salary?
I guess.
Like, hey, make him do something. Like
you will work every day of this year.
All this money. Like, hey, let's put him to use.
And again, like
I don't know.
I largely like him. Like their show can be pretty funny sometimes. Now, sometimes they get stupid with it. And, you talk long enough, you're going to say some stupid stuff every now and then. But for the most part, like I think they're pretty funny. But I don't want to see Pat McAfee on every sports event that I turn on now.
And I guess my thing is like, he's so polarizing. Again, I don't hate the guy. Again, I think that it's been a good ad to Game Day. Don't watch his show. Probably won't. Not probably. I won't watch his show unless it's like, okay, here's someone coming on that he gets good guests, but I also feel like his interviews, when I watch him, is a little bit too much ass kissing.
There's a little bit of that,
it's like, that's just, again, small sample size. I mean, Eli from Smyrna says, might be a boomer take from Joe. Pat is one of the best sports personalities of all time.
Hey,
again, some people feel that strongly about him. I mean, look, clearly people do. So it's one of those things I just have to, but it's also like, fine, then that's what it is. Then do I have to hear people scream about it every time he does something too?
Again, to me, it goes back. It's an ESPN thing.
That's a social media
thing. There's no reason for him to be on the home run derby. Like sometimes you can have too much of a good, like even if you're somebody who loves McAfee, like, do you really care about seeing him on the home run derby? Like, is that going to make you more likely to watch the home run derby because Pat McAfee's on there? Like, to me, it wouldn't. Now, maybe some people it does. I have no idea. But
I mean, some people, if Eli from Smyrna thinks he's one of the great sports personalities of all time, I guess maybe he is. Maybe he's like, oh, well, I wasn't going to watch home run derby, but McAfee's going to be yelling the whole time. Okay.
I don't know. I mean, again, look, I'm with you. I think he's been good on Game Day. Like, I actually thought the dynamic between him and Saban last year was really good on Game Day. So I've enjoyed him on Game Day. I could probably live without like the alternate college football broadcast when they're out there on the sideline just talking through the game. Like, I'd rather just watch the traditional broadcast. That's just me. Like, I mean, even somebody like, I really like the Manning cast, and the McAfee's alternate cast and the Manning cast are different in the way that they do things. Yeah. I really like the Manning cast, but still, like, if I had to choose, I'm somebody that really likes just watching the traditional broadcast of a game.
If it's a game I'm really into, I'm watching the broadcast. I'm watching a traditional game. If it's whatever game, and especially then if they have like Charles Barkley or something on, then I'm definitely flipping over to them. And I like it, but I agree that I've maybe listened to, I flipped over one time, I think accidentally, and heard like 9 seconds of his thing. And it's like, oh yeah. No. We're good.
So again, like, I think some of this is an ESPN thing, and they do this a lot with Stephen A. Smith too, of like, it's just too much. It's too much of, they're trying to, obviously their numbers tell them that Stephen A. Smith drives things, and so does Pat McAfee. So they're trying to put them absolutely everywhere. And I think it can be heavily oversaturated at that point.
And they've made new channels. I mean, I miss ESPN Classic. Why can't we just have a McAfee and Stephen A yell at each other channel and just make it its own thing? And then we can test it out and see if it beats ESPN's regular ratings.
Maybe so. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. We will get back into the Vols coming up next. Some comments from Josh Heupel yesterday at SEC Media Days. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Final hour, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. We are live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Wednesday morning. It is day number 3 of SEC Media Days. Our SEC Media Days coverage brought to you by Brewhouse South. Experience Nashville's ultimate sports and brew hangout at Brewhouse South in Cool Springs. As the week has gone on, you can feel the FOMO increasing with Joe Rexrode for not being there down there at SEC Media Days.
I tell you what, man.
It's gotten worse every day.
I know. It's been tough. Thinking about Hugh Freeze, going up there and having an opportunity to be a human being with a sense of humor and just completely dousing everything. I mean, Lane.
I was really hoping Hugh Freeze walk out there on stage with like a 6-iron yesterday. Yeah. Didn't happen.
Dressed up as Payne Stewart.
Yeah.
Perfect. Missed opportunity.
A caddy, maybe.
Tally-ho! Yeah.
Just walking out there. Guys, pay no attention to him. He's just my caddy. We're getting out of here pretty quick after the podium sessions.
We're cutting this short.
Yeah. My wife's already on hole 7, so by the time we're out of here, she might have made the corner, and she's at 11 right now. So,
what if Hugh Freeze?
We're gonna have a few holes.
What if Hugh Freeze would have run into who's the former hockey player who beat the crap out of that dude last week?
Or Nick Tarnaski?
Yeah, Nick Tarnaski.
Yeah,
Hugh Freeze. What if Hugh Freeze is playing a little slow out there?
I would hope that if Hugh Freeze,
I thought you were going to say Happy Gilmore.
Yeah, if Hugh Freeze got thrown into a pond to begin a fight, I'd hope he'd have enough sense to stop after that. Yeah, unlike that other guy.
That guy, man, that guy kept coming. If anybody has not seen that yet,
look up Nick Tarnaski golf fight. You will not be disappointed.
I mean, and that guy just keeps coming back for more.
Yeah.
And then he just keeps getting pummeled.
Bang! Bang!
He's like saying it, right?
Bang!
He's like saying it as he punches his face.
Yeah. It's awesome.
And then he just throws him to the side.
Like a rag doll.
Yeah, we would not want
former Pred, Nick Tarnaski, by the way.
There you go.
Played 11 games for the Predators.
Fred's legend. We would not want that to happen to Hugh Freeze.
No, we would not.
But we would like Hugh Freeze to have a sense of humor.
Josh Heupel
also not have a crappy team anymore, but we'll see about that.
He seems to think he's
he
not.
He says they're in the playoff discussion.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they are right now.
That is true.
They haven't lost yet, so we'll see what happens on that front. Josh Heupel hopes his team is back in the playoff discussion this year. After an eventful offseason that included the loss of their quarterback, Heupel and the Tennessee contingent addressing the media yesterday. Heupel hopped on with Chase and Big Joe down in Atlanta. Talked about a lot of different things. As expected, Joe, like I knew when he got up here on that stage yesterday and throughout the whole process with the media that he was never going to come close to naming a starting quarterback. And look, I don't not believe him. Like, he probably doesn't know who his starting quarterback is going to be right now.
Absolutely.
Like, it's hard to be totally confident that, oh yeah, Joey Aguilar is going to come in. It's all going to be fine. He's going to be ready to go. He's going to grasp the offense immediately, and we're all good from there. So I'm sure the competition is real, and we'll see how that ends up playing out. And the one thing I did get from Tennessee yesterday, and we heard it from Miles Kitselman, and he started talking about how, yeah, you're going to look up and you're going to find Tennessee at 7-0 at one point this year, and you're going to be like, huh, how have they done this? I sensed a little bit of irritation from the Tennessee contingent yesterday in terms of how most people think that they're going like 7-5 or 8-4, and they're not including them in the college football playoff discussion. And Josh Heupel was asked by Chase yesterday if he feels like this year the Vols and him are getting a pass as it relates to the aftermath of all the Nico stuff. And here's what Josh Heupel had to say.
Man, it's been a long time since I walked into a ball game not thinking that we were going to win that ball game. It has been a long time, long before I got to Tennessee. Nobody in our program has ever used anything as an excuse from day one when we got there. When I got there, said we're good enough to win right now. Now your margins might be different, year to year, team to team. Your margins can be different, but this football team is good enough to go win. And, that's the athletic traits that we have, both sides of the football. It's what we have in our staff room. We got to go compete and go take it every play, every practice, every day. And ultimately you get to kick off and, coaches and players together got to find a way to go win the game.
So what do you make of that from Heupel and the, for lack of a better term, a mindset of Tennessee heading into this year, with most people looking at him and saying, 7-4 or 7-5, 8-4, somewhere in that neighborhood?
Well, I want to know when he says long before I got to Tennessee, does that include like when he was OC at Missouri and they lose? Actually, I think didn't they lose like 50 to something to Tennessee in one of those games? Like
It's a shootout. Yeah.
I thought that was a complete blowout. Am I wrong about that?
I'd have to go back and look.
But yeah, so you got the coach speak there of like we plan to win every game and we never think we're going to lose and all that stuff, right? So there's that part of it. But I think he's going to with his team. I think he's going to absolutely use this. Why not take advantage of it? You know, because of the success he's had, they haven't been able to really do much of that, right? It's like, can you build off, obviously disappointment you don't make the playoff in Hendon Hooker's year and he gets hurt and Connor Stallions gives them all your players or whatever happened that year. But then the expectations have been high. They've been high for Nico and all that stuff. So it's been really since his first year that he's had a chance to be like, because I think even going into his second year after the very pleasantly surprising first year, expectations were pretty high.
Well,
right?
you knew Hooker was going to be really good.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So he'll lean into it. And I think he's not surprised by any of these questions at all, and he knows the situation. And if he's being honest, like at home, he probably does. Like if you're allowing yourself as a coach to look at hypotheticals that include losing games, that people do have a little bit of grace for him based on the Nico situation.
Yeah, we'll see how it all plays out. Like the quarterback part of it for sure, because I think regardless of how good or bad the quarterback play is this year, it's easy to look at it and say, well, if Jake Merklinger is the starter this year or if Joey Aguilar is the starter this year and it doesn't go particularly well, it's like, well, you got George McIntyre already in the program. At the moment, you've got Faison Brandon coming in, and you're feeling good about the future, hopefully with at least one of those guys that sticks around and is a good player, right? So you're feeling good about that if you're Tennessee. I think this is a really important year from Heupel from everything else beyond quarterback. What does the offensive line look like this year? How good are the wide receivers this year? I'm not saying they've got to be elite, but I think you need to feel pretty good about the direction with a lot of your young guys surrounding the quarterback this year. That needs to be something you walk away with this year. I'm not saying that Tennessee has to make the playoff, because right now, if I had to pick, I would assume they're not. Like I think they're probably an 8-4-ish team this year. So you're not getting in the playoff at 8-4. But I look at their wide receivers, their offensive line in particular, and do they have some building blocks that you look at the end of the year and say, yeah, those guys are really good. And if you figure out quarterback heading into next year, that you got a chance to be back in there competing again. I don't know. Like Heupel would hear something like that and be like, you're crazy. We're trying to make the college football playoff this year. And I get it. Maybe they will. I don't know. But there's a lot of question marks they've got hitting on the team. I think quarterback is less important for them this year. I think everything offensively around the quarterback, we're going to find out a lot about what they're building this year.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It's like at this point in your program, the Nico thing's a setback. It's an unforeseen situation. Or, well, I don't know if it's totally unforeseen because when they were recruiting him, there were people. They're like, boy, Nico's dad. Just be ready. But still, that's reality QB, but still, you didn't expect things to go down the way they did. But everything else, this has a matured program now. So, yeah, to Brandon's daily point, offensive line, Glenn Ellerby, that's a big deal. We were talking earlier about them running the ball. I do think the offense lends itself to that. I think it helps with that. But, the pass protection, the whole thing, the whole picture, it just hasn't been – that's the same thing that has not been at the level it needs to be since that 2022 season.
The other part of this is their schedule, because it's not necessarily an overly daunting schedule. Now, it's got Georgia in there and Alabama and Florida, and those are probably, if I had to guess, the three teams as of right now that they would be picked to lose against, right? Like if you're setting Vegas lines and, you can't find them for every game right now, but I know that they're a double-digit favorite against Syracuse, even with their quarterback situation. Georgia, they will be an underdog at home. Alabama, I think I found that line last week, and they were like a double-digit underdog to Alabama on the road. You know, Florida, they'll probably be an underdog on the road. Other than that, it's probably toss up at worst. Like at home against Oklahoma, I think that's got a chance to be a tough game for them. But I would imagine as we sit here today, they're probably toss up or slightly favored in that game because it's at home. Kentucky, how good are they going to be this year? Arkansas, they beat Tennessee last year, but that one's at home at Neyland. Mississippi State on the road, like Mississippi State, I don't think it's very good. So their schedule sets up where they've got a chance, unless their quarterback play is just awful. They've got a chance still. I mean, you're talking about a team that's going to be favored in all but 3 of their games, I think.
Yeah, so if they do, just get decent QB play, everything else is, decent, like, not a worst case scenario with the O-line. I think the defense will be good. The receivers, you're able to have some guys produce. Yeah, the 9-3 is right there on the table. If 9-3 is on the table, if the lines tell you that 9-3 is what they're supposed to be, well, 9-3 is fringe playoff team now. If you lose those 3 games, what are the 9 wins? What of those 9 wins are super valuable?
I mean,
you never know.
Unless Oklahoma gets a really good year at quarterback from Mateer coming in, which could happen, by the way.
Yeah.
So
hey, look, Vanderbilt could be a decent win.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, but based on what we think of these teams, they'd probably be just on the outside looking in. But if that's the case, if you go 9-3 and you just miss out on the playoff, I think that's 100% a pass.
Yeah, I would agree. I just, to me, there's no scenario. Like I look at pass and people talking about getting a pass. Like is Josh Heupel's job going to be on the line at the end of this year? It's hard for me to get.
It's more like the discussion, right?
Discussion.
It's more like the fans. Like, are they gonna get to the point where we know with Tennessee fans, it's like they love a coach to defend him to the death, and all of a sudden want to kill him.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know that we're going to get to that this year. I will say though, like if they're 8-4 this year, after making the college football playoff last year, then next year becomes crucial.
Mm-hmm.
Like it becomes very big for him in the larger discussion of it.
Which is potentially tough just because, like, if Merklinger is not very good or McIntyre's not ready or whatever, then maybe they're casting their lot with Brandon.
As a true freshman.
But it's like, well, you got to give him another year, So on and on it goes. There's a thought here that I'd like to refute. No, same thing?
Yep.
Okay.
We'll get into that coming up next. 615-737-1025, our phone number. Robby and Rexrode, 1025-1063, the game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5-106.3 The Game. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Talking Vols, taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Joe, a text you would like to respond to.
So Chris in Nashville says, I'm a Vol fan, but Heupel should have had a QB ready. Nico could have gotten hurt and lost in the first game of the season. My response was, that's college football today for all coaches. Look, even really, if you want to go back before all this stuff, quarterback rooms, and you follow any college football program closely, the third QB often would bail out of there anyway. Now it's the second, though, which is the problem. He responds, right, Florida and Ole Miss had backup that seemed ready. I honestly don't remember how Ole Miss's backup performed last year.
I think it was Austin Simmons.
Okay. Florida's was DJ Lagway, who was a 5-star freshman who obviously is – so sometimes you can time it out where it's like, yes, I'm coming as a freshman and I know I'm the future and I'm there, and he's obviously good. So good for them. So I don't know if Faison Brandon is going to be that level of QB. If he was there last year, then it'd be this similar situation. Also, as you pointed out in the break, Robby, we don't know that Heupel doesn't have a QB ready.
Merklinger might be good.
Merklinger is a 4-star recruit who had – I don't remember all the offers, but he had really good offers along with Tennessee, and he's the guy. That's what you do. You recruit the next guy, and we have no idea if he's good or bad. We have no idea if he's great or terrible. So I don't understand the complaint, but that's where you get into. If you think that everybody has like a Nico and then just has another Nico, that's just not living in reality.
He was offered by Merklinger, Auburn, Arkansas, Boston College. I can go down the list, or you just listen to this in alphabetical order. But
so he's not the level of recruit that Nico was or that Faison Brandon was, but like a good, legit SEC quarterback. And as we know with recruiting rankings, in bulk they mean something, but individually,
he was offered by Florida and Georgia. He's a good prospect. Now he's not a 5-star guy. It's not like he's the number 1 recruit in America, but that's not the only quarterbacks that get offered high-level SEC programs.
There's going to be a Georgia fan who immediately jumps all over you for saying he was offered by Georgia, because it'll be like it wasn't a committable offer.
He was offered by Georgia. I don't know what else.
I have no idea, but that's how
I'm rolling down the list of offers here. He's offered by Georgia. I have no idea what to tell you. He's offered by Miami too. So again, you can take all that for what you want, but
regardless, so that's the guy. They had him as a backup, and we'll see. We'll see. Obviously, you have to go out and try to get someone when Nico leaves. They did, and that's where I get into just the presumption that a lot of people have. Although there was some talk this week from yesterday about him trying to do the leadership thing and having people, and it's like, okay, that's good. You want that, but I still don't take that as any kind of confirmation that he's going to be the starting quarterback. I'm sticking with Merklinger as the starter in the opener. We'll see.
There's an interesting piece at the Tennessean from our buddy Gentry Estes, and it kind of talks about how, if you look at the human expectations for Tennessee this year, they're not very high, but the analytics love them. So he talks about the USA Today poll and the predictions for the SEC. They've got Tennessee 10th in the SEC, 10th out of 16. And I think Athlon has them at number 10 as well. And the top 25 from the Athletic after the spring had him at number 13 with Nico as the quarterback. And then with Nico gone, they took him out. So not even in the top 25. And then you look at the analytics, and as Gentry points out in his piece, analytics have Tennessee a 39% chance to return to the college football playoff, which doesn't sound like a lot, but that's pretty high. It's the 4th best in the SEC behind Texas, Georgia, and Alabama. So you've got the human expectations telling you one thing and the analytics telling you another. And, a lot of that has to do with the schedule that we just talked about. And it's not, an overly challenging schedule for Tennessee.
Yeah. So that's when you say analytics, is that like ESPN, FPI?
ESPN analytics.
Or the
all-state playoff.
And that is a big part of that is just like your roster talent, like your star level, things like that, the roster. And that's the thing. Tennessee has has recruited well. They haven't recruited at the top, like we were just talking about the other day, the top shelf, but they've recruited well. Yeah. They have a lot of good, talented young players, some of whom we're going to learn this year. And we'll say their names. I know that may be controversial to, talk about specific individuals on a sports team, on a sports talk show. But that's I think where that comes from, the overall talent. Now, again, does that play itself out with the offensive line? I think the thinness of the receiving core, some of these nuances miss those analytics. So you take it all with a grain of salt, including everything we say.
I got one text that says, no love from the young man from Brentwood, talking about George McIntyre. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, true freshman, if he's, I'll tell you what, if he really hangs in there and it's one of those things where, like, they have to keep giving him reps well into camp. Well, I mean,
if that's the case,
that's
then
impressive.
If that's the case, then you could make the argument to just go ahead and go with it. Like, if he makes it that close with the other two in camp, you could make the argument to just go ahead and go and see what he thinks. I'm not going to totally discount it. And Hypo got up there yesterday and he was talking about the quarterback competition, and he made sure every time he was asked about it, talk about all three of them. So he's not on the surface counting George McIntyre out of it either. To me, it's hard to see a true freshman coming in to that offense and playing. Nico, as highly recruited as he was, came in and did not start his first year. So I think it's always worth remembering on that front.
Exactly. Now, different guy. I mean, we are talking coach's son.
We are.
And sometimes that can maybe accelerate the process of things like that. So different people have a different learning curve and all that. I think there's some excitement about him. And that's where it could get really interesting too. Like, even again, look ahead to next year. Like if McIntyre is clearly better than Merklinger, or he's right there neck and neck, if you're leaving, so then you can get into what a competition that could be, or even, gosh, do you do a 2 QB thing? Who knows? That doesn't seem to be a big hype thing. But look, they have possible answers at least, and even this year, if you told me all three of those guys would end up starting a game just because of the reality of injuries, and I wouldn't be that surprised.
615-737-1025, our phone number, 615-737-1025. There is a feud that is ongoing between two, at one time, very prominent members of the NFL. That is pretty hilarious. We'll get back into that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025, 1063, The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Got some tickets to give away to Holiday World and Splash and Safari in Santa Claus, Indiana. Be caller 3, 615-737-1025. Caller 3 will win a pair of tickets to Holiday World and Splash and Safari coming up in Santa Claus, Indiana. We're taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Joe, a feud in the NFL, not a food, a feud that has been, I guess, reignited would be the right word here. So Robert Kraft had some comments a little while ago talking about Bill Belichick and basically said that it was a, quote, big risk to hire him back in 1999. I think this is what the full quote was, quote, I gave up a number 1 draft pick for a coach that had only won a little over 40% of his games to get him out. I don't know if there are any Jets fans here. I think getting Bill Belichick to come to the Patriots in 99 was a big risk. And I got hammered in the Boston area, but he was with us for 24 years is what Robert Kraft had to say. So I guess Bill Belichick came out yesterday and the comments came out where he's taking a shot back at Robert Kraft.
Yeah, talking to Don Van Natta from ESPN,
Right.
who is basically like one of his biographers.
This is the quote that Belichick had in Kraft's direction. Quote, as I told Robert multiple times through the years, I took a big risk by taking the Patriots head coaching job. I had already had an opportunity to be the head coach of the New York Jets, but the ownership situation was unstable. He went on, quote, I had been warned by multiple previous Patriots coaches, as well as other members of the NFL organizations and the media, that the New England job was going to come with many internal obstacles. I made it clear that we would have to change the way the team was managed to regain the previously attained success, is what Bill Belichick said.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
So were the obstacles, the many internal obstacles, are they all Robert Kraft getting in the way, meddling owner? What are we saying here? What are we saying?
Kind of sounds like that. Actually,
I've
told Robert many times that this place was an absolute dumpster fire before I got here, and I was the one that came in and fixed it.
The idea also that like people were advising him that no, the Jets, that's actually the more stable situation.
There. Yeah.
You know, I mean, the thing is, they had been to the Super Bowl. I mean, so they had Parcells. For what were the years that Parcells was there? Parcells, I believe. I think Parcells was the coach when they got to the Super Bowl. Am I right? When
he was the coach,
lost to the Packers?
Yes, guiding them to the Super Bowl. He was there from 93 to 96.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, clearly, Belichick, for people who don't know, he's a Parcells disciple. He was his D coordinator with the New York Giants. Pretty good to be the D coordinator with the New York Giants. You have Lawrence Taylor and Harry Carson, et cetera, et cetera. But that's how he, elevated. So obviously he's talking about Parcells, right? Like, I would assume Parcells would be one of the guys who talked to him. Parcells did have success there. So, the Patriots have been, you have to go back. They actually were like, the Patriots were like the Browns, the Lions of the NFL, like in the early 90s. And Parcells really turned it around and he got out of there. So I guess there's at least some like maybe validity to it. But the idea that there were all these people saying that the Jets would be the better option is pretty funny to think about right now.
It is. It's also hilarious.
The whole thing is just funny.
That like with the amount of success that franchise had over Belichick's tenure there, that Belichick and Robert Kraft apparently just hate each other the way that they do. And maybe hate's a strong word, but they clearly just keep sniping back and forth at each other. And there are clearly some very hard feelings on Belichick's end from how things ended there in New England.
I honestly think, and maybe they were just putting up a front, but I honestly think it was a good relationship most of the time. And then when Brady left, won that Super Bowl, I just think Kraft probably reevaluated how he looked at the whole picture, right? Yeah. And probably fair to some extent, although I almost feel like we're getting to the point now, and maybe some of this is Belichick's whatever the hell he's doing right now out there. I think he's almost getting to the point. He might end up being underrated. Like a few years ago, it was clear, like Bill Belichick is the greatest coach in NFL history. And like, I think like all the things that have unfolded have stripped a lot of that away for a lot of people. And I think that Robert Kraft's one of them.
I agree.
You know, and he probably is a little too down on, but obviously Belichick is sensitive about that stuff. I mean, the fact that Belichick in his book, I'll go back to it, like, didn't mention him in his book. I mean, come on.
It's kind of crazy. Yeah.
Like, good, bad, indifferent. It's a huge part of, like, you're trying to tell your football story and you don't talk about the owner of the team you work for 20. I mean, come on. That's so petty and, like, the more I just said, I think that Belichick might be getting a little disrespected as a coach, but his pettiness and sensitivity have become very clear too.
Well, and it's also, and I can't remember where this was because frankly, there have been 1,000 documentaries and interviews and all these and books that have come out about all this stuff. So I can't keep track of all the interviews that Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick are doing. But I do remember some comments from Kraft specifically talking about like the quarterback part and like, basically, he said that Belichick came up to him and said that Brady was done. Like, that's basically what he said. And then Brady went on to Tampa Bay and played, obviously, great football for 3 years there in Tampa Bay, including a Super Bowl win.
And it seems so ridiculous now. But everybody thought that. Now, I know it's still like, yeah, but everybody isn't the guy who's with him day after day. So everybody else can be wrong. He can't be wrong. But it looked that way. His last pass with the Patriots was a feeble little flip out that Logan Ryan ran back into the end zone. I was like, well, great career, Brady. Good for you. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what he did. He really got the plyometrics going after that.
Let the record show. Let the record show that we had a discussion that offseason about whether or not the Titans should sign Brady or re-sign Tannehill. And I said Brady. Let the record show. Let it show. Right? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I did not.
I know.
Yeah. Well, I obviously right now you go back and say that's crazy, but I also saw Ryan Tannehill play pretty well. I mean, so that was 2020, right? The next year, Tannehill goes 33 touchdowns, 5 picks.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Number 2 offense in the NFL, 31 points a game. But still, yeah, Brady won it all again. So what are you going to say? That's totally changed this relationship. I mean, the Brady roast was hilarious because, like, you could tell, they were kind of able to joke around, but also, like, okay, this is a
pretty hard feelings there.
This is a sore spot.
Well, again, it's becoming clear, and we knew this the whole time. Like, Brady was the key cog in that whole thing. It's always going to be that way with the player, right? Like, the player, especially the quarterback, is the most important part of a franchise winning all the time. Like, Bill Walsh, great coach in San Francisco, right? And Bill Walsh, to his credit, won it with 2 different quarterbacks, right? I mean, you had Young and Montana. So he ended up with a couple of great quarterbacks. But everybody looks at Joe Montana and is like, man, Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, like those guys winning the Super Bowl, it's the players. So I get that. And it probably has gone a little bit too far the other way. Like, I think there are some people that think like Belichick is just a really average to below average coach and Brady has just elevated him. I don't think that, but I do think it's a reminder of, like, there's a limitation on coaching in the NFL. And a lot of it just comes down to how good your players and specifically how good your quarterbacks, right?
Yeah, exactly. Again, it's like people don't want to acknowledge this too. And I say it, and I'm a Brady hater, but those early teams were, I think those were more Belichick stamped teams. They were great defenses. He did not put up video game numbers. He did not have to do ridiculous things. Throwing the ball, he was great. I mean, he came in, but I also think that I think that Drew Bledsoe could have won one of those Super Bowls. I do. And obviously he was a starter and Brady split. Does Brady end up being way better than him? Yes. So it worked out fortuitously for them, but those were Belichick teams and he built that and he knows how to build it. And I think the way that stuff they did with personnel, which they've tried to replicate, and I think he obviously really fell off in that way, right? As a GM of the Patriots.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't good late, but like it was very good for a long time. It wasn't just Brady.
I will say though, like in terms of his legacy and the way that Belichick is going to be viewed here, I do think it's important for him to go to North Carolina and maybe not win a national championship, but like they need to be pretty good because if he goes there, and it's like what Ryan McGee said last week, which he has like no confidence that Belichick's going to do anything.
They're just going to go 8-4 no matter what, forever and ever.
Like if he goes there and it's not very good, that's just another thing people are going to point to, and they're going to be like, well, look at his record before Brady. Look at his record at New England after Brady. And then look at him trying to build a program in North Carolina and it just totally falling on his face. Like, I think it's pretty important for him to go there and have some level of success at North Carolina.
Yeah, I agree. Head coach Bill Belichick, defensive coordinator Nick Saban, 8-8 with the Cleveland Browns.
I mean, I've heard some people say, I mean, look at Belichick. He's just like the ultimate example of luck in his career. He had Brady as his quarterback, and as he was coming up as a DC, he had Lawrence Taylor as his best player. It's like you end up with maybe the greatest defensive player of all time and the greatest offensive player of all time. That should help.
Right. Like you have those, they both have a claim as the best football player ever.
Yeah.
It does help as a coach. You get smarter.
It does. 615-737-1025. Our phone number, 615-737-1025. There was a trade that I speculated on last week, Joe, that may have some smoke to it this offseason. We'll get into that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025, 1063, the game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Joe, I brought up last week a potential situation to monitor in the NHL that if you're the Predators, I think you should have your eye on. And we talked about Mason McTavish with the Anaheim Ducks, who is a young centerman at the age of 22. He is a former number 3 overall pick. He has played on some bad Anaheim teams to this point and has already at the age of 22 compiled 229 games in his NHL career. Last year, he put up 52 points, 22 goals, 30 assists in 76 games. And with the additions that Anaheim has made this offseason, there is some speculation that he could become frustrated with his role. And there's some speculation that whether it's via offer sheet or via trade package, that some teams may try to acquire him this offseason. And I said, if that's the case, then that's something the Predators need to be monitoring very closely, because Mason McTavish at the age of 22, while I don't know that he is ever going to become like a true bona fide stud number 1 center, he would be a player that at that age and with the production that we've seen to this point and the size, a lot of things about him to like, and that I'd be interested in that if I'm the Predators. Well, some more information on that coming out yesterday, not necessarily directly related to the Predators, but Frank Saravalli, who is a longtime NHL reporter and knows his stuff, was discussing some of the latest buzz that he's hearing on the Mason McTavish front. Here's what Frank Saravalli had to say yesterday.
Any talk of Mason McTavish getting moved, he's one name to watch for me, I think, moving forward. I think it's been a tough go for McTavish in Anaheim. I view McTavish just from I don't know if mental standpoint, but body language standpoint is the right way to say it. I view him as sort of a bit of a depressed asset in the sense that I think a really solid player that has been beaten down by a lot of losses in Anaheim, that I view him as similar to Trevor Zegras. I think a change of scenery would be good for him. I think there's a lot of teams that are interested. I think some teams have tried to work on what an offer sheet might look like for Mason McTavish, as it seems like that's one of those situations that's going to be a struggle, much in the same way that getting that Zegras contract was for Anaheim. But no one can really put together something on paper that they think is going to dissuade Anaheim from turning down or not matching that offer sheet. Just because the Ducks have so much cap space, it's really hard to offer sheet a team that has a ton of space. So keep an eye on Mason McTavish, though. I think he's going to be an interesting name to watch moving forward.
So that was Frank Saravalli. He was talking a lot about the offer sheet part of it there. And to his point, like I'm looking at puckpedia.com, and the Ducks have almost $29 million in cap space. So while they do have some guys coming up over the next couple of years here that they're going to have to sign to long-term deals, the cap is also going up, as we know, in the NHL. So I don't know that the offer sheet is going to be the way to go for McTavish. But I guess the question continues to be, does it deteriorate to the point where they end up just having to trade him? And, Joe, there continues to be smoke to this, and people keep talking about it. So it makes me think there has to be at least some conversations going on behind the scenes here.
Yeah. Oh, no question. I think him talking about it that much right there is a tell for sure, you know? And if you're a Preds fan, boy, you hope that Barry Trotz is knee deep in any conversation. Yeah. Not saying this like transforms the whole team, but man, would it be a big answer at the biggest question and fill such a hole and allow people to slot into actual reasonable places if somehow they're able to acquire him. I mean, he's good.
Yeah, he's a good player.
He's a good player. He's produced. As Frank said there, that's not easy when you're getting beaten down, losing year after year after year. I mean, someone asked Connor Bedard right now how much he's enjoying his time in the NHL so far. So, and granted, if he were to come to Nashville, it's right now it may not look great. But you could also look at Nashville as a player like him and say, okay, I'll take Stamkos on my wing. You know, I could see how this team could turn around. There's a lot of talent still.
Yeah, like if you're the Predators, I think it makes a lot of sense to explore this. Now, again, like the offer sheet part of it, I don't think you can go crazy with it either. And even if they made a trade and signed him to a long-term extension, like, what's the dollar amount you're willing to go to with Mason McTavish, who again, I think is a good player. I don't know that Mason McTavish is ever going to be like some 80-point guy or anything like that. So you have to keep that in the back of your mind. But I do think Mason McTavish could be a pretty good number 2 center in this league as his career goes on here. And the production at age 22 on, again, a bad team, 52 points in 76 games. That's not nothing. Like it's a good player.
No.
So it's, again, something to keep your eye on this offseason if you're Barry Trotz. With a situation that does not have a lot of answers down the middle right now, and there's some even thought on that this year with Anaheim. Like, they brought in Granlund. So are they playing Granlund on the wing, or are they playing him down the middle? If so, are they moving McTavish to the wing? Like, what is all that going to look like? There's a lot for them to figure out there, and I wonder if the Predators could be one of the teams that try to take advantage of that.
We spent so much time like talking about Trevor Zegras. I mean, we've probably talked about him. I mean, that's a hope player.
Yeah.
At this point, like this is a guy who has produced. So no, I mean, look, it's you just hope that Barry Trotz is, and I'm sure he's in on it. I'm sure that he's looking at me. They're going to say what they say, and you know what? Maybe Svechkov is ready and all that stuff, but like they know that has to be addressed. If you want to, maybe down the road it gets addressed with people coming up. But right now, if you want to be competitive next year, it's just hard for me to get there if they don't address it in some way.
So we will see what happens on that front, if anything, this offseason with Mason McTavish, and whether or not the Predators can get involved in that discussion. Joe, that's going to do it for us today here on the program. Chase and Big Joe are going to catch up with David Cutcliffe later today and Greg Sankey at 12:45 coming up. So make sure you're tuned in for that. DVD's coming up next. You're listening to 102.5, 106.3 The Game.